Hey there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. Today I'm doing a colour challenge. This is the Stampin Up colour challenge, or SU colour challenge I should say. It's a Facebook group that launches a new challenge every month, and this time around we are being challenged to use Balmy Blue, Crushed Curry and Basic Beige as our palette today. So we'll be recreating this card, but as always I'm just gonna mix around the colours and do it a different way round, just so that you can see in a different different orientation, and then obviously you can then take that idea, make it your own, and create your own fab cards. So we're using some of the Last Chance sets at the moment. So at the point of filming, these were still available, but things sell out really quick when we're in this period before a new catalogue launch. So just hop along to the online store and see what's there. Some stuff's reduced as well, so you might be able to pick up a bargain, so get it before it's gone. Okay, and there's a dedicated section for the Last Chance items. Okay, so Flowers of Beauty is what we're going to use today, and I'm using like the stems and these flowers rather than these ones. It's got a great set of dies with it. I'm going to be there's another card coming on my Instagram featuring these little dies, which are really cool. But we've got these larger dies just to build up that floral, and then the sentiment's going to come from My Small Business. So this thanks fitted nicely onto one of the stylish shapes, so I used that one. So this is another nice set for thank yous and everything, but so this one's on its way. Not everyone likes just thanks, but you know, sometimes that's what we need on there. So just a simple thanks as the sentiment. Okay, so as always I'm going to mix it up a little bit. We're still going to use some of this frayed white ribbon. This is also on its way out, so this is currently available in the online store, and we've already done a bit of die cutting ahead of time. So we're going to switch it out, and instead of using the yellow banner we're going to use a blue one, Balmy Blue. Already die cut this piece as an embellishment, and we're going to switch out the card base. So instead of Balmy Blue we're going to do Crushed Curry. Okay, so already got my mini layers all cut. I need to do a little bit of ink blending on this, and I'm going to do that first so that's got time to dry. So I'm just going to bring in some scrap paper from somewhere. That'll do. It all gets very mucky, but I use and use it until I can't, basically. Dark yellow blending brush, and we'll use our Crushed Curry ink. So this is quite a strong colour, so I don't want loads and loads of this, so I'm just going to take off most of the colour onto the scrap, and we're going to work in from the bottom about a third of the way up, fading that out, well maybe half, just making it really light towards the top and applying more ink along the bottom edge, so we get that nice sort of fade out. So we'll just do that. I might just take a little more just to make that bottom portion just a little deeper. Just want a bit of contrast rather than just having a plain white layer in the background. So just add it really gently and a little bit at a time, because once it's on you can't take it off. There we go, we got there. Okay, it's a nice sort of soft blend across the bottom there, and that will have a chance to dry completely. In fact, while I've got the ink out, I'm going to put that over there to I'll stamp the sentiment now actually. And I didn't actually get a scrap of paper out. There we go, scrap of paper, that will do the job. Let's get this thanks stamped now. Well, we've got the ink pad out. That's the only thing we need the crushed curry for now. Okay, so we'll pop that away. So that's done. That's going to be cut out with this little stitched shape die, and it fits just nicely, and the lettering, because it's quite sort of a block kind of style, it's quite easy to line up. So we'll get that put on there, take it down, put it on the cutting plate, ready to go. Got a couple of other things to cut. We need to use the Balmy Blue ink for our little flowers. So this is a it can be used as a two-step stamp, and you could use both sets with different shades of ink onto white cardstock and die cut them out. But this time around I'm using the cardstock as my light shade, so that I can just die cut that out. Okay, so I'm just going to use this die here, line that up. Just don't want a piece of scrap. Okay, and we'll secure that, and we'll get that die cut as well. And we're going to use the basic beige, more scrap cardstock, which is just big enough for this large stamp here, which is totally cool. So we're going to get like a tone on tone stamp with this. It just fits. Okay, just a nice firm pressure. It's really, really subtle. Okay, it's going to just take a minute to dry. We'll put the die cut on, the die on, shall I say. And that's it for our stamping. So I'm just going to let that dry for a second. I can still see it's quite wet because that's quite a new ink pad. Okay, so while that's going on, let's just do some of our layering. Okay, so our panel here, I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal. Just to layer this up onto some basic beige. So this is really soft colour, but it's enough when it's on the card base just to make that pop out. Just straightening out those edges. Sometimes when you cut on the trimmer, you just get a little bit of a raised edge, but it's nothing no bother, just to straighten that out. And what we're going to do is we're going to add some of this frayed ribbon. So I'm just going to use some tape. So we'll get a few strips of that off, and we'll wrap that round. Okay, so this ribbon is quite bulky, I would say. This frayed edge just gives it a bit more depth than it would have normally. So I'm going to pop this up onto dimensionals, which will factor in that. If you try and put that down flat, you're going to end up with a bulge. So we'll use dimensionals, which will compensate for that, and of course it will look awesome. All popped up. Okay, so we'll just put those on there, give it some balance, take those off and position it on the card ready to go. That ink will have dried now, so we'll get our little pieces die cut. So just hover over the top and pop it down. As long as you haven't pressed it down, you've got a little moment or two just to lift that if you need to. Okay, so that's our base done. let's put our dye over the top of this now that that's dry. It takes a couple of minutes, but normally it dries quite. I mean, the other stamps images dried quite quickly because they were very well used ink pads. Okay, so all of those things now, I've got a sentiment, I've got the flowers, I've got the stems, all on the cutting plate on my full-size die cut machine, Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and we'll just roll that through. Okay, your cutting plates, just keep using them and using them and using them, and sort of use both sides. So there's our sentiments, and here's our stems. Oops. Okay. These are all these little bits and pieces you need to get off your cutting plate. If you leave them on, they kind of make like indents into whatever you die cut next, almost like an embossing folder. So just want to make sure you get those out. That tape's just held those in a little bit. And we'll just take those off there. They kind of stick in with all the pressure, but you see how beat up that is. But you know, I'll cut into this side for a little bit and it'll start to sort of bend a little bit under the pressure. Then you flip it over and you keep going until it completely gives up the ghost, and then you can replace that with a new one. So I die cut a lot, and I think they last quite a long time, to be fair. Not many videos where those of you who watch me regularly, not many videos where I don't die cut. Just going to use a ball tool just to give these a bit of shape, just to give the card a little bit more interest. Okay, just some foam, a Stampin' Pierce mat, whatever you've got, something soft, even just a magazine or a wedge of paper or something like that, just helps you. And you can use the end of a pencil rather than a specific tool if that's what you've got. I'm going to bring in a silicone craft sheet just to protect my work surface. Sometimes this makes the focus go a bit weird because it doesn't know where to put the focus, so I apologise if that goes a bit strange. So we'll use our mono glue, multi-purpose glue here, and we'll just put some bits of glue on the back of that. And we'll just attach this to the stem. Okay, you can use the image to help you if you want, or you can just wing it. You can put glue directly on the die cut as well, whichever you feel more comfortable doing. We're doing this now so that we've got time for this to dry, and this is why I've used the silicone mat, because I don't know where that glue's going on the background if I put it on the back of the flowers. But you can kind of make this process a little less messy by actually using the die cut, I should say, and just using that to determine where you put your glue. Okay. I'm going to pop this one here. And you only need a couple of anchor points. You don't necessarily need the whole thing covered in glue or anything. So just a dab here and there will do it. And the less you use, the quicker it will dry. Okay. So there we go. So we'll give that a few seconds to dry whilst I show you what we're going to do with the rest of this. So our sentiment banner. Now this is the same die cut, but we want it to peek out, so we're just going to cut it in half. And I'm just going to pop some Stampin' Seal on the back of this. And then we can just pop that on, and you can use the little stitch marks to kind of make sure that you're even, and use your fingertips to make sure that's lined up. And we can do the same on this side, so we know it's going to be even because I'm going to make it so that I can just see two of those little stitched marks or dots or whatever. Okay, and then this is going to go onto this ribbon here, but I want to pop it up because it's got a lot of other dimension on there as well, but the dry adhesive that's on a dimensional isn't going to be a firm or permanent, I should say, perhaps bond, so we're going to use mini dimensionals, but then we're going to use some of the multi-purpose glue as well. I'm deliberately putting these towards the edge because I know I'm going to want to slot some of the branches and things from the die cuts in between, so I'm just leaving that space in the middle. So we'll take off the back ends and we'll put a generous dollop, it's a technical term, I don't know whether that's a regional word actually, dollop, anyway, a blob. And we can now centre that onto that ribbon. The ribbon just peeks through with a little bit of extra detail. Okay, and I would recommend just popping stamp block on there or something, just so that it's applying some pressure to that glue so that that can firm up. Right, so this brings us back to this die cut. Now I think that might be a bit pale on that background, so I'm just going to bring in my silica mat so there's a darker background for you to see. But basically I'm going to cut this apart so that I can use this in a different way. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Up snips because these are really super sharp. Okay, and I'm going to cut away this portion here, and you can kind of follow the die cut round so you get a cleaner edge there. And I'm just going to tidy up this bit where I cut it away by just sort of cutting out a little sort of curve that makes it look a little bit more like it's supposed to be there. So I've ended up with this piece, and then here I just detached it here, so there's a little bit of a frayed bit there. So again I'm just going to just tidy that up, make it look like it was supposed to be there. And anyone who's to the untrained eye, I don't think anyone would ever notice it anyway. So we've now got two pieces that we can use to embellish our card. Alongside this larger piece here. So just put in a few dimensionals onto the back of that. That's all nice and, well, it's dry enough anyway. It won't be completely dry, but as long as everything's going to hold in place, that will be good enough. And we'll need some dabs of wet glue on the back of this. So I'm just going to go for sort of those larger spaces. So on the back of these two leaves, you can probably get just a dot onto there, dot on here, dot at the base just to secure it, maybe there, a little bit on that one. Okay, and hopefully it's secure enough. You can always put the block back on afterwards to make sure it's fully dry. Okay, and then that space in the middle is going to be perfect for me to be able to slot this into here where it needs to go, like so. Press that in. Could always put a little bit of a glue dot behind there as well. Then I think we'll use this front here, and we'll use these to hide that cut edge. So it's going to go off the edge, and I like things that go off the edge, just sort of makes it all feel connected and organic. And then this bit we can use further down, again just hiding that cut edge. Okay, I'm just popping that into place. I want that underneath there, really. That's it. That sort of fills it out a little bit without it being too bulky and not detracting from the nice colour that we've got on there. And so if you wanted to, you could probably pop a little bit of a glue dot under there. In fact, I might do that just to secure that central bit just a little bit with all that bulk, because we haven't got anything else under there. So I'm just going to pop that there. That'll just help keep that in place. Then I'm using these brushed brass butterflies. I think these are staying. I don't think these are retiring. It'll all be on the store anyway. You'll see it. If it's on the last chance, you'll know. Okay, so these guys can go in here. Find some spaces for them to sit. Just flitting around in this garden that we have created. Okay, there we go. Oh, thought that wasn't stuck down there, but the whole thing moved. And is it upside? Oh no, thought I'd done it upside down as well for a second then. Okay, right, so there we go. That's our colour challenge for today with Crushed Curry Balmy Blue Basic Beige. Okay, and just using the same layout, same dies and stuff, just with the different colour combinations, turning them inside out, using that basic beige as the nice sort of base neutral. Okay, so I hope that's given you some ideas. Don't forget to check out those last chance products and grab yourself something that you want before they're gone. You might find a bargain there too, so do take a look. And if you fancy participating, this is a Facebook group, SU Colour Challenge, that you can find. If I remember, I'll link it in the description, and you can take part too. Okay, thanks so much for joining me today. Do stay safe, take care out there, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.